Other developments today, the President in KwaZulu-Natal looking at the problems around Transnet and our port. At the same time, of course, huge delays, the long queues of trucks outside the Richards Bay coal terminal. Trains are not working along the line that is supposed to be transporting coal to that terminal. And then there are all of the other issues that we have seen. Sabotage along some of the Transnet lines. Transnet now issuing a tender for live ammunition for its guards to use to protect the railway lines. Bonginkosi Mabaso is the Chief Commercial Officer at Transnet Freight Rail. Bonginkosi, good afternoon to you. So, the President looking at some of your infrastructure today, some of the problems with Transnet ports, but it's the railways that he's also been looking at, the queues caused by some of the problems. Do you get a sense government is fully supporting you in dealing with the problems we have on our railways?
Good afternoon, Stephen and to your viewers. Absolutely, we do take note that government is stepping in to sort of support with the gaps that we've identified and that we've been talking about for quite some time. The visit by the President is quite encouraging, and it's an indication that government is willing to step in and support us where we have gaps. That said, though, Stephen, I'm sure the Department of Public Enterprise will speak with more authority around that in terms of what will then follow after this visit.
How many problems are you actually having running your locomotives at the moment, basically making sure you're able to move coal around? What kind of service are you able to run compared to what you're supposed to run?
So as it stands now, we run at a tempo of 60 million tons per annum as opposed to the system design of 74 million tons. So we're losing about 14 million tons per annum as a result of three issues. The first one being shortage in locomotive supply. You will be aware, Stephen, you and I have had this conversation for quite some time now that we do have locomotives that were produced by an entity in China in CRRC that has not been able to support with spares. That has resulted in a number of locomotives being parked and not being available for service. The second issue being issues of security and crime. This is a general issue in the country because, I mean, if you look at various sectors, they are all being hit by crime, but particularly in the railways. Any theft in our cables results in ultimate stoppages in our service, and as a result, we lose volumes. And then the last one, of course, being infrastructure and the upgrades that are required in the infrastructure.
The issue around, I mean, I understand that there's basically no progress in the dispute between a government and trying to, it is gone to government now, it's gone to the Minister, Pravin Gordhan, to try and deal with the issue with the Chinese company. I understand there's no movement there. The issue around sabotage, I mean, you're issuing a tender, as I understand it, to essentially, get weapons and ammunition to try and guard your infrastructure. This is incredibly serious.
Stephen, absolutely. It is a serious matter. Maybe starting off with the one with CRRC, the local issue. I wouldn't say there's been no movement. Of course, the Department of Public Enterprise can speak more around what movement is in place. But what we've done on our side is, instead of awaiting finalization of that, is we've looked at alternative methods of bringing back these locomotives. The first one, which is more longer term in nature, has been to go out on an open market to look for an alternate original equipment manufacturer to re-engineer the parts that we require for our equipment in order to continue. But that, all as I've indicated, you are looking at about 2 years to 3 years for that to be finalized. In the interim, what we've done is we've looked at other brands of locomotives that we have in our system, and we are bringing those OEMs in to sort of support in bringing at least that fleet back so that we only have the Chinese manufactured locomotives out of service. The rest should be brought back into service. We've progressed quite significantly with that, and we are at the stage of awarding those procurement events that we've gone out to sort of finalize. So in that sense, we are moving. We are not just waiting for the Chinese locomotives to be resolved. But I must say, if that is resolved, it will have an immense impact in our ability to be productive as an entity. Now, coming back to the point that you raised around security, our customers have really come in to support us in enabling better security on our lines with technology, but also providing resources that are are able to then support us in guarding the line. The recent development that you are referring to, where we are giving ammunition to our officials, we have recently been granted peace officer status for some of our security personnel. That requires a rigorous training and accreditation in order for them to do so. So as part of that, and this is not something that's unique to Transnet, as part of their tools of trade, they are required to have ammunition with them.
So, I mean, do you think that this is going to work? I mean, we've seen so much sabotage, so much theft of your infrastructure, and it's such a long line to protect, Bonginkosi. You know it much better than I do. It's actually almost an impossible task. Of course, what would help? If you had more trains running, that actually protects your infrastructure in some way, doesn't it?
Most certainly. For every train that moves, it takes away an opportunity for these criminal activities and elements to come into the line and exercise their criminal activities. What we've done, though, and the issue of peace officers is not our silver bullet. There's a lot more work that we are doing in the background. In addition to that, one of those is we, as early as August this year, July, August, we awarded outcomes-based security contracting that seeks to enable a relationship with our service providers where we hold them accountable for a number of incidents that have happened on the line, rather than requesting them to just supply resources to cut the line. You are spot on that there is no way that we can cut a 29,000 kilometer line, kilometer by kilometer. That would require that the entire Transnet workforce is deployed in security. That said, the peace officer status that I've referred to and the issue of ammunition is just one of many initiatives that we've got on the go now to ensure security on our lines. Of course, it still does require that a conversation much bigger than Transnet continues in terms of support from other law enforcement agencies, but also industry, private sector in enabling a solution to this problem.
Bonginkosi Mabaso, thank you, Chief Commercial Officer for Transnet Freight Rail. Do appreciate the time.